Hey, hello everybody. This is Ariana here, or Aria, or Aree, whichever you want to call me. All three is fine. So I just wanted to talk today about my experiences living abroad in Asia specifically, and how I've survived out here. I get a lot of people asking me questions about it, and what am I doing to make money? How am I able to sustain myself? And just general advice career-wise. And so I just really wanted to take some time to share my experiences, as I think it is my service and my duty to do so, as I believe that I've been quite successful out here, especially because I came out here with a completely different plan and jumped on a new path, and I've been making it work ever since. So I'm going to share my experiences on living abroad in Asia, teaching English, and running a few different projects, and just going a little bit into that. So specifically, I'm going to focus on teaching English and how I've made that work for myself. And I originally went to China for, I graduated college, university, and I moved to China for a different job opportunity, but ended up falling into a different career path of teaching English, which was not exactly what I expected, but it was absolutely incredible every step of the way. And I've been teaching English for 3 years now in Asia, and it's been great income for a lot of these countries, good enough to sustain myself. And it's also been really fun and exciting every step of the way. And each place I've taught English has been different, a different dynamic, different set of students, different culture, different mindset. So I'm going to focus first on China. How did I get my job in China? So again, I was already in China on a different job opportunity, and I just started networking with people and talking about, I was like, oh, I need to find a new job, da 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 da. And they were like, teach English, you're a native English speaker. So if you're a native English speaker out there, like really, and you want to travel the world, or you want to live abroad, you want that restart, you have an advantage. You're a native English speaker. The world is waiting for you. So and especially if you're good like with children, or one-on-one with adults or anything like that, like you can learn to teach. Like you can learn to teach. And actually I believe everybody has that ability to teach, because that's like innate in us, that we're supposed to teach somebody or others something. That's just part of who we are and how humanity is supposed to work. And so for me, one of the biggest advantages was WeChat. So WeChat is a major social media app, messaging app, and even a wallet in China. And they will put big groups together. Like sometimes the groups will be 200, 300, 400 people in one group. And I was just networking and talking to people, and they put me in some different WeChat groups for teaching English, and it was just job opportunities. So, which kind of sounds almost like it could be a scam, but it's not. So a lot of recruiters are on there, and then people looking for jobs will be on there, and they'll start posting on jobs, and they say private message or DM me with your resume, with your CV, and your credentials. And so that's what I did, and I just went through, and I was in these groups, and I just was persistent and just kept sending in my resume. Now I did have a background of international experience before, and I have high scores in English already, from English writing to creative writing, like focused on and highlighted those skills and my ability to communicate across cultures. And I had an advantage because I was already in China. So if you happen to be traveling somewhere, just think about those opportunities. If you happen to be traveling somewhere and you're like, oh, I wish I could live here, and you're a native English speaker and there's need for English teachers, you might want to just network just a little bit while you're there and see what opportunities can open for you then. Now again, I was able to submit my resume and everything in, and it opened a door for me to teach English at it was pretty much a private institute for kids, and I was teaching ages 2.5 Yes, 2.5. 2.5 up to ages 11. So 2.5 to 11, which is quite a wide range. And it was a full-time job opportunity. And I was doing that on top of some other work that I was doing, which was focused on marketing for a designer eyewear company. And from that, it was just like, it was incredible because that was my first time really working with kids, and they really train you there. They train you how to teach. I did not have a teaching certificate. However, I did highlight on my 500 hours of volunteer service, and that I was native English speaker, and that was able to get me the door into teaching English in China. Now there are requirements set. There's a lot of schools who have requirements set to have a teaching English as a second language certificate. So I would say, if this is something that you want to do, definitely go out there and pursue that certificate, because it's going to be really, really important for what you do next. If you want to continue teaching, it will be really important. Now, for this particular for this particular job opportunity, they were really desperate for a teacher, and I came right on time. And we had an interview, in-person interview, and I landed the job within a week. And I'm talking 1 week of being of the job search. And again, WeChat, this WeChat group, and doing networking, being persistent, and highlighting on the skills that I already had, and experiences that I've already gained from any type of international experience or international communication that I've had, and highlighting on my English speaking skills as well. And a lot of people do say I'm very articulate, which I do agree, and so that does help a lot. And being in the country when there's a demand and a need for it, and being there at the right time also was really helpful. So again, if you're like looking for that leap of faith and you think you can do it, like, we're powerful beings. We can manifest what we want at the time that we need it, and the universe will take care. And it did at that time, because I was like really needing a job at that time. They do provide work visas. Provide work visas. Some jobs will even give you housing allowances and stipends on top of your monthly salary. So there's a lot of great benefits. Now, I did leave China in February. I was able to teach in Lao as well. So I've taught at 2 different schools here. And the way I got those jobs, so these, again, non-traditional ways of getting a job of teaching English. I know there's a lot of resources online, and I'll jump into that in a bit, but these are non-traditional, jump on the gun, be spontaneous, and just be a nomad and make it work for you type of ways. Google, started writing down all the different schools here with English teaching programs, gosh, and international schools. And I just started sending out my resume based on the experiences I had in China and any previous experience. So even if you come from a marketing background or communications or PR or anything that any type of experience that might show that you are capable of handling international, cross-culture, intercultural communication is really an advantage for you. And also showing that you are able to do public speaking and you are comfortable in front of others is really, really an advantage for you. So I did highlight on those skills for myself, and showing how I like to be positive and energetic, and that I love being around kids, because I do love being around kids. They just raise my vibration up like crazy. And so I sent out some emails with my resume attached, and of course a cover letter, and I just sent them directly to the schools. And I did get some really positive, I got several interviews from doing it that way. And then the second way is Facebook. So here in Lao PDR, also Thailand, there's a few countries nearby. Actually, almost I think even in Mexico, because I was looking this up for my sister, if you go on Facebook and you look in the groups, you can do like whatever country that you're looking for. For this particular one, it's like Lao, teaching English, right? You just write that in onto the Facebook search bar, and there will be groups again where they will post jobs and looking for English native speakers, or just looking for English speaking teachers in general. Sorry, that was a little fruit fly or something. And again, like there will be people who um, recruiters that are directly from schools or a third party, and you send your resume in again, and you can land a job that way. But I didn't. So some mistakes that I made is that actually, if you do secure a job, be intelligent about it. If you are planning ahead and you know this is something that you want to do, specifically like there's a place that you want to go to, again, look in the Facebook groups beforehand. Facebook groups, social media groups, WeChat for China. Look in those groups first, and they might even pay your plane ticket to get there. So that was my mistake. Both jobs I got, like I probably would have had the opportunity to have gotten my flight paid for had I planned prior. But again, I was in like full impromptu mode, and I was on a different agenda. But I knew like I wanted to teach it. So this again is just creative ways to find a job. Now, one thing is about Southeast Asia is you do find a lot of backpackers, wandering backpackers, who run out of money. And some of them have these stories. So one thing to be very careful about and to be aware of is that if this is you and you are taking this advice, please don't, because the worst thing that you can do is get into a contract and then just leave once you make enough money, because that really sets students back. And that's what happened to me. When I got into the position here, there was several teachers. I think it was like 3 or 4 teachers who are all short term. Sorry, 1 month to 2 months to 3 months. They would come in, just make enough money because they were traveling, backpacking, ran out of money, and decided that they just needed to make enough, and then they bounced. And that is, I want to cuss, but that is so messed up. Like, if you're gonna be there, at least finish the term off. Right? If you're going to go out there and have somebody supporting your visa and paying you, and you got this job opportunity, at least finish the term off for the sake of the students. Just because, like, it was a lot of extra work for me to try to make sure that they were at the right level. It was stressful for the students, feeling like they didn't have somebody permanent there that was always coming in and out. So I had said it like, I'm here till the end of term, and if I get offered for another year, like, I will consider it. But I knew, like, at that time, like, finish it, leaving. So if, like, you happen to feel like you can't finish the contract, at least try and wait till the end of term, at a good stopping point where the students have a long break, and then they can come back to, like, a fresh start and a fresh teacher. But, like, leaving in the middle of the term, like, so, like, you are taking some of this advice and you're like one of those backpackers who are just going through, like, please take this advice and finish the job. Like, it's really important for the students, for the sake of the students, especially if you're traveling through the country. Take it as a service, like your service for them, like as a native English speaker, like take it as your service for them and finish it off, and you make more money in the long run. Now, the teacher before me, I don't want to like spend any details or anything, but yeah, he was there for about like 2 months and then just bounced, or a month and a half and just bounced, and that like really put them back. So again, non-traditional ways, especially impromptu ways of getting a teaching English job while you're in a new country. Whether it is that you're traveling through, you're considering working there, or if you want to plan ahead. Now, for planning ahead, there's several different websites that you can go to. I would recommend, again, getting your teaching English certificate, because that's like you know, the biggest door openers, having that, having a degree. I should have mentioned this. Obviously, I have my degrees, so that's really important. I should have said that in the very beginning. Um, Having your degrees, and now that I'm at past 2 years of professional experience, that has helped open up more doors for me. And then for China specifically, some really great websites that you can go to look for teaching English jobs. Um, Whether you want to do teaching English online or if you want to teach English actually in a school there. There's several great websites. One of them is laowicareers.com, and they load up places all over China that you can work. If China is not a place that you've considered working, you should. Because honestly, if I would have turned the wheels back, go back, I would have stayed in China. Just because there's so many opportunities there, and especially I was teaching in Shanghai, which was just a high dynamic life, but I wasn't ready for it at that time. I wasn't ready for that. I came from a small town and went into this big city, and I just wasn't mentally and emotionally ready to adjust to such a change. So that's why I ended up going down south to a calmer environment. And then number two, what I would say, aside from your degrees and the TOEFL certificate and going online and highlighting the right skills, just be persistent as well. Be persistent and keep sending out your resume to more schools and follow up on them. You never know. There is high competition, but considering what's going on in the world, just look at it as right now there's probably a huge opportunity for native English speakers in China right now, considering everything that's going on in the world. So just take the opportunity. And again, if you are traveling somewhere and you're looking for that fresh start, you never know. Like, get connected in and see what opportunities might be there for you. And the very last point I want to make is you will be trained. So if you're really nervous and you're just jumping in, you will be trained with whatever school that you're working at. For me, I was very fortunate to have curriculum set at 2 of the schools. They had curriculum already set, and it was mainly memorizing a lot of the material, learning how to present it, and then creating your own material out of that curriculum to make it more creative and to be at the same level for the students that you're teaching. One of the schools, I did have to create my own curriculum for everything, which was like really nerve-wracking, but I was teaching travel and tourism, which was really, really fun, and it was at an international school. And that was like so exciting because I was able to incorporate my marketing and my business background into this curriculum. And it was just, I think that was probably one of my favorite journeys of teaching English or in English. And then the last suggestion I would have is prepare to make a video. A lot of schools do ask for a 2-minute introduction video of yourself because they want to hear your accent and they want to just see how you present yourself. So just get ready to do that and see, good lighting, professional lighting, not professional lighting, I'm sorry, it could be natural lighting or professional lighting. But present yourself in a way that shows that you have charisma, that you have energy, that you are able to guide and teach your students, and that you're reliable and consistent, and that you're not gonna just drop out like some of these teachers do, which drives me crazy. But yeah, it drives me crazy. Even though I was impromptu, I kind of felt like that little filler, like I was there, like I will be there when somebody drops out, and every time that opportunity had opened for me. So yeah, that's my advice for teaching English in a non-traditional style, and it has worked for me for 3 years. Now I do say right as of right now, I'm not teaching English. Um, I am working on something else for myself, something that I was just like have been really passionate about. So I'm putting my focus and energy in that direction right now. But again, drop any comments if you do want to talk to me one-on-one about it. Please just slide into my DMs, and I will like help guide and advise you in any way that I can. And help, and I'll put in some links as well to some different websites where you can learn about teaching English, and also some online English teaching programs as well, which I haven't done any online teaching yet, just because I do feel it's weird. I love being in a classroom. I love being in a classroom because that the energy level is different, and you get more of a personal connection with your students. But again, this is my little journey so far of being abroad, and how I'm like balancing out a life right now where I teach English, and then I'm also running some different projects for it, more fashion related projects, and I'm balancing these two out. So anyways, much love to everybody out there. Again, comment, share, whatever you need to do, and much love, much love, much love. It didn't stop.